U.S. media reports on Thursday said that the wife of conservative U.S. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas pushed the Trump White House to overturn the 2020 election. The Washington Post and CBS News both reported that Virginia Thomas urged the White House Chief of Staff under Trump, Mark Meadows, to overturn the election results and preserve Trump's presidency. The report said that Thomas, a conservative activist and attorney, exchanged text messages with Meadows in which she advised him to, quote, save us from the left taking America down. Now President Joe Biden was projected to win the race on November 7, 2020. Neither Thomas nor Meadows could be immediately reached for comment. In that same text, Thomas mentioned Sidney Powell by name, while also writing the words, release the Kraken, a reference to the sea monster of Scandinavian folklore. Powell represented Trump's campaign when he sought to overturn the election result. She had used those same 3 words in a vow to expose what has since been debunked as false claims of widespread voting fraud. CBS and the Post said that the text messages were handed over to the Congressional Committee investigating the Jan 6 attack on the U.S. Capitol. The news outlets do not say how they obtained the texts. Reuters could not independently verify the reports, and the spokesperson for the Jan 6 committee declined to comment. The news comes almost a week after Justice Thomas was admitted to a Washington hospital. The status of his health is not immediately clear. Justice Thomas was not mentioned in the text messages, according to the reports.
The EU and US have struck a deal on gas supplies. It's meant to reduce the bloc's dependence on Russian fossil fuels and help ease an energy price crunch. The deal came after late-night talks in Brussels. US President Joe Biden had flown in for a day of 3 summits. In the early hours of Friday, Belgium's Prime Minister hailed the transatlantic pact.
Les États-Unis, en fait, se sont engagés d'être un partenaire.
Alexander De Croo says Washington committed to producing more liquefied natural gas to help bring down prices in Europe. The conflict in Ukraine has pushed already high gas prices to record levels. It's also raised alarm over Europe's dependence on Russia, which supplies about 40% of EU gas needs. The new deal will see the US work towards supplying 15 billion cubic metres of LNG this year. It wasn't immediately clear where the gas would come from, and that is just a small fraction of the 155 billion that analysts say Russia supplied last year. On Friday, leaders will discuss what more they can do to rein in soaring energy bills. Spain, Greece and others are expected to make the case for price caps and market intervention. The divisive issue of whether to impose an embargo on Russian energy will also come up, but no decision is expected. Those most dependent on Russian gas, in particular Germany, fear any such move could have a huge economic impact.
A month into Russia's invasion, this is life in Ukraine. Cities reduced to rubble, long lines for humanitarian aid, and hundreds sheltering underground, like in Kharkiv's metro system. Natalia Shaposhnik and her daughter Veronica have been living in a blue and yellow train far underground Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, since the beginning of Russia's invasion.
Surely it's not better than home, but it is livable. One can say our living conditions are better than others. What I mean is we are not right on the platform. My child and I are in the carriage. We get food, there is a toilet. We are doing fine.
For 4 long weeks, Sapochnik and hundreds like her have hunkered down inside the station in the north of the city, many of whom have endured near daily shelling. Above them, destroyed or heavily damaged buildings line the eerily quiet streets. Anastasia Horkova is a local journalist.
Here, there are about 250 people sheltering here. Many go out during the day to breathe fresh air, go to the supermarket, and this flew here.
A couple hundred miles to the south, the scene is no better in the battered city of Mariupol, where long lines for humanitarian aid have filled a former shopping center. Alexandra is a local resident.
My husband didn't make it to receive humanitarian aid. He had diabetes. The scarce diet of the last days led him into a coma and he died. If he could have made it for the aid, he'd be alive. I still can't tell the Russian relatives he passed away.
Many have evacuated the port city for temporary shelter in Russia's southern city of Taganrog, like pediatrician Galina Ovchinnikova.
We were eating once a day. All we have cooked in the morning, we were eating during the whole day. And the rest of the time, we were sitting in the basement. It was dirty there and dark. We were burning candles, making oil lamps. It was cold there.
83-year-old Raisa Kairat said she lost contact with her daughter and grandchild when the siege started.
So beautiful Mariupol used to be, and suddenly it was reduced to dust. How dare you fire at people? They are animals, not humans. Kindergartens, stores, schools. School nearby was destroyed. Why would anyone shoot at the houses where people lived? What for?
Russia continues to deny targeting civilians and calls its invasion a special military operation.
People! People! We're striking again here in the city CBD. We stand here in solidarity with
We're seeing climate disaster after climate disaster with bushfires and floods, and not just bushfires, mega bushfires and mega floods that are just absolutely ravaging our communities. And we know that it's fossil fuels that are exacerbating these floods and these climate disasters, and we know that they're, driving the climate crisis, yet the Morrison government continue to support and subsidize the fossil fuel industry.
3 years ago we were on fire and nothing has changed. How many more young children, young school kids are going to miss out on school?
Always will be Aboriginal land. Always was, always will be.
For residents of the remote Matsu Islands, the buzz of planes flying overhead is a stark reminder of the looming threat of war posed by its massive, powerful neighbor, mainland China. And they say Russia's invasion of Ukraine has made that threat ever more real. The Matsu Islands are just a stone's throw away from the mainland, but they've been held by Taiwan hundreds of miles away since 1949. That's when the defeated nationalist government fled after losing the mainland to the communists. Today, the islands are home to a Taiwanese missile base and would likely be an immediate target for Beijing in any case of a renewed conflict. China considers Taiwan a renegade province and has never ruled out taking it by force. For 64-year-old breakfast joint owner Lin Ji-shou, a recent flyby of a Chinese aircraft reminded him of the possibility of conflict in his own backyard.
Even if they provoke us, we still can't touch them. If they want to fly over, just let them fly. If you shoot them down, everything will be over. I'm not kidding you. It would be the start of the Third World War. It's really too scary. It wouldn't even just be us and the mainland fighting. Other countries would surely also join in the fight. Just look at the war between Russia and Ukraine. If they use atomic bombs, it'll all be over. No country would be able to escape.
The Matsu Islands were regularly bombarded by China at the height of the Cold War, and older residents say the Russia-Ukraine conflict has revived fears about their own history. But even though China has ramped up its military pressure on Taiwan in recent years, some members of the younger generation aren't as worried. Some of the abandoned bunkers that dot the coastline were transformed into tourist destinations and boutique hotels. Many young residents are more keen on preserving the island's unique culture and have worked to build up trendy small businesses and a vibrant art scene. 26-year-old Chung Jing-ye is a restaurant manager who says moving there taught her why so many want to maintain the delicate status quo.
Between Taiwan and China, there's already a clear, reasonable discussion that we are different. In the past, I really wanted to stand up and emphasize this point. But after coming here, I understood why some middle-aged people didn't want to emphasize this issue. Because they're on the front lines. In case something really happens, this place might be the first to come under fire. So the people here keep saying, why do we have to keep stressing this issue?
Taiwan has raised its alert level since the Ukraine invasion, but has not yet reported any signs of an imminent attack.